Got it. And so on a buy in general, how much, what is that total dollar margin that you're trying to get normally on a buy?
Initial For the initial buy, it comes down to the brand. It comes down to what kind of deal it is. Is it going to be a reciprocal type of deal? So, if it's something that I don't feel confident about and the data is telling me it's not a strong product, it's not going to exceed, a $2,000 spend.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? For an
Yeah.
initial order, say if it's pre-rolls or, a
Yeah.
pre-packaged good, you 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 don't want to put yourself in a bad spot
And
again.
would you rather, when you're doing something like that, I'm curious, spread that out across all 7 stores to see, or would you rather test it in like a couple set of stores for an initial val?
So initially, with us, we bring it on at all locations. We typically don't like to test things out because we centralize a lot of things on our end in terms of discounting, centralizing, a lot of the naming conventions. And so, if we're running one promotion in Flagstaff, we're running the same exact promotion down in Tucson. And so typically we don't give trial runs. If the trial run's going to be implemented, it's going to be implemented across all locations for us. And then that's typically how we like to do it. And then it comes down to the capacity within inventory. How is the vault? Do we have
Yeah.
space? Do we have floor space for these things? And so we factor everything into this, for menu planning to ensure that our inventory teams are able to stock the floor and that it's not, super compressed within the shop and they could only floor a couple strains at a time or, edible options or vape options. So realistically, it's working with the teams that it's working with the retail teams and understanding what are they capable of having at each location because we have tons of SKUs. That's what we're working on, and we're turning over a lot of these different SKUs based off of reciprocal deals. And yeah, it primarily comes down to like for example, my Glendale location and my Flagstaff location. Say we're bringing on a brand new vape company, and they're all in ones, and there's indica, hybrid, sativa. I don't want to put myself in a bad spot, but I want to create variety for the customers. So let's just initially do a case pack of two different strains per,
Yeah.
per category. But keep in mind, Florence or Tucson, their foot traffic is not the greatest. It's a newly acquired location, newly established for us, and you don't want to overstock them. So and it's in a geographic location, a low income area, and so what they're looking for may not be this vape, right? And so
Yeah.
it's understanding, dialing back, you know, how many different strains you're gonna have for each dominance, so to
Yeah.
speak. So
Yeah.
it's just understanding those things.
And I think it's also like what you're saying is like, don't be afraid to start slow. Don't be afraid to start small, right? Because the thing that is the worst thing at the end of the day is dollars sitting around that aren't sold, right? Even though, like, you guys have a really solid way of protecting your bottom line with margin protection deals. It sounds like you're doing a really great job through the levers of reciprocity, through the levers that you have with dealing with vendors and setting these like expectations very clearly out the gate, right? Product on the back shelf is not good for anything. And so like being able to say, let's start small, see if it goes, do it quickly from there, I think it's really smart, right? And we run into all the time issues where, why is this store so overstocked? Well, it's because like we did a lot of big buys on new brands, but like, they never ended up selling or stuff like that.